Global Monetary Watch welcomes you to today's update for July 26. Today we're taking a careful look at one of the most talked about stories circulating in the Iraqi Dinar community. A recent claim has generated widespread discussion by suggesting that a final international value for the Iraqi dinar has already been determined. Because stories like this often spread quickly across social media and investor forums, it's important to separate verified developments from community speculation. In this report, we'll examine what is being claimed, compare those claims with publicly available information, and focus on the documented actions of Iraq's financial institutions rather than relying on unverified reports. The discussion began after comments attributed to Frank26 gained renewed attention across multiple online platforms. As one of the longest-standing personalities in the dinar community, his opinions are frequently shared among followers who closely monitor Iraqi monetary developments. Supporters view his updates as valuable insights, while others encourage a more cautious approach because many of his previous statements involved projected timelines and exchange rate expectations that were never officially confirmed. Understanding this history is important because the credibility of any new claim depends not only on what is being said today, but also on how similar claims have aligned with real-world events over time. Rather than deciding immediately whether the latest statement is true or false, the more balanced approach is to compare it with official evidence. Monetary policy is established through institutions such as the Central Bank of Iraq and is often influenced by economic conditions, banking reforms, fiscal policy, and international financial relationships. Public announcements from these institutions carry significantly more weight than commentary circulating within online communities. Looking at official documentation helps provide a clearer picture of Iraq's financial direction without relying solely on rumors or emotionally charged discussions that can easily influence expectations. The central claim attracting attention is that an international exchange rate for the Iraqi dinar has supposedly been finalized and is waiting to be revealed. As the story has spread across different websites, videos, and discussion groups, however, one noticeable issue has emerged. Different sources are reporting different numbers. Some mention one proposed value while others suggest entirely different figures. When information changes from one version to another without an official source confirming the details, it becomes much more difficult to verify its accuracy. Consistency is one of the strongest indicators of reliable information, and conflicting versions naturally raise additional questions. Official monetary decisions generally follow a structured process. When central banks announce significant exchange rate changes, they release formal statements through recognized channels, ensuring that governments, financial institutions, and international organizations receive identical information. Verified policy announcements do not normally appear as multiple conflicting rumors circulating independently across social media. This does not automatically prove that every community claim is incorrect, but it does highlight why careful verification is essential before treating any unofficial report as an established fact. Reliable financial information should always be supported by publicly accessible documentation whenever possible. While community discussions continue, Iraq's documented financial reforms remain an important part of the broader picture. Over the past several years, the Central Bank of Iraq has focused on improving banking compliance, strengthening oversight of foreign currency transactions, and modernizing financial systems. These efforts have been designed to increase transparency while aligning Iraqi banking practices with international standards. Reports published by the central bank indicate continued progress in these reforms, particularly in managing dollar transactions and improving oversight within the banking sector. These measurable developments provide concrete information that can be evaluated independently of speculation surrounding future exchange rates. Another closely watched indicator is the relationship between Iraq's official exchange rate and the parallel market. Historically, a large gap between these two rates has reflected challenges within the country's currency market. More recently, observers have noted that this difference has gradually narrowed, suggesting that reforms may be improving confidence in the official exchange system. Although this trend does not confirm any future exchange rate adjustment, it is considered by many economists to be an important sign of increasing monetary stability. As always, documented economic progress provides a stronger foundation for analysis than unverified reports about dramatic currency changes. The phrase international value is also frequently misunderstood within online discussions. Every national currency already has an international exchange value based on the rates at which it is exchanged in financial markets. When some commentators refer to a hidden or unreleased international value, they are often describing ideas that are not reflected in official monetary policy or supported by published documentation. Central banks typically do not announce confidential future exchange rates long before implementing policy decisions. Instead, monetary adjustments are generally communicated through official channels once institutional decisions have been finalized. Understanding this distinction helps separate technical monetary terminology from interpretations that circulate within community discussions. The broader economic environment also plays an important role in understanding Iraq's monetary direction. During recent years, Iraq has continued implementing budget plans that rely heavily on oil revenue, while also attempting to diversify its economy through financial reforms and infrastructure development. These efforts involve balancing public spending with long-term economic stability, strengthening domestic institutions, and improving the efficiency of government services. Although these reforms require time to produce measurable results, they represent documented initiatives that can be evaluated through official reports rather than speculation. Examining these developments provides a more complete picture of Iraq's financial progress than focusing only on exchange rate rumors. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani's administration has repeatedly emphasized banking modernization, digital payment systems, and increased financial transparency. Government agencies have promoted electronic transactions while encouraging greater participation within the formal banking sector. Expanding digital payment infrastructure helps reduce reliance on cash transactions and strengthens oversight of financial activity throughout the country. These reforms are intended to improve efficiency, reduce opportunities for illicit financial practices, and create stronger connections between Iraqi banks and international financial institutions. While these initiatives do not directly establish future exchange rates, they contribute to building a more stable financial framework over time. International organizations have also monitored Iraq's economic progress with cautious optimism. Institutions such as the World Bank and other global financial bodies have acknowledged improvements in several reform areas while continuing to identify structural challenges that remain unresolved. Iraq still faces issues including dependence on oil revenue, the need for stronger private sector growth, governance reforms, and continued economic diversification. This balanced assessment reflects both the country's achievements and the obstacles that policymakers continue working to address. Understanding both sides of the picture helps create realistic expectations instead of focusing only on optimistic or pessimistic narratives. One important aspect often overlooked during online discussions is Iraq's foreign exchange reserve position. These reserves represent a significant source of financial stability because they support the country's ability to manage its currency and maintain confidence within the banking system. Strong reserve levels provide monetary authorities with greater flexibility when responding to economic pressures and fluctuations in global markets. Although reserve strength alone does not determine future exchange rate policy, it is considered one of the fundamental indicators economists monitor when evaluating a country's overall monetary health and financial resilience. Another major factor influencing Iraq's financial outlook is its continuing effort to improve compliance with international banking standards. During recent years, Iraqi authorities have implemented stricter controls on foreign currency transactions while strengthening oversight within commercial banks. These measures are designed to combat money laundering, improve transparency, and ensure Iraqi financial institutions meet international regulatory expectations. Greater compliance enhances confidence among global financial partners and supports Iraq's long-term integration into the international banking system. These reforms represent measurable institutional progress rather than speculative predictions about future currency values. The global financial environment also affects Iraq's monetary strategy. Around the world, discussions continue regarding changes in international trade, reserve currencies, and cross-border payment systems. Some countries have explored alternatives to conducting certain transactions exclusively in US dollars, while others continue strengthening existing relationships within the dollar-based financial system. Iraq finds itself navigating this complex environment by maintaining important financial relationships with the United States while also expanding economic cooperation with neighboring countries and other international partners. Managing these relationships carefully remains an important responsibility for Iraqi policymakers. Oil continues to serve as the foundation of Iraq's economy, making global energy markets highly relevant to the country's financial position. Revenue generated through oil exports contributes significantly to government finances and supports the central bank's foreign exchange reserves. Because oil prices and production levels fluctuate over time, Iraqi policymakers must continuously adjust fiscal planning to reflect changing market conditions. International agreements involving oil production quotas also influence the amount of revenue flowing into the country. These factors demonstrate why Iraq's economic outlook cannot be evaluated solely through exchange rate discussions but must also include broader developments within the global energy sector. Taken together, these documented reforms present a picture of gradual institutional progress rather than sudden transformation. Banking modernization, stronger regulatory compliance, reserve management, and economic reforms all contribute to improving Iraq's financial foundation. However, none of these developments independently confirms reports that a dramatic new exchange rate has already been finalized. Instead, they highlight the importance of evaluating official evidence within the broader context of Iraq's ongoing economic development. Careful analysis based on verified information provides a more reliable understanding of the country's monetary direction than relying exclusively on unofficial community discussions. As the discussion continues, another important consideration is the distinction between long-term economic improvement and immediate exchange rate expectations. Monetary reforms are typically implemented through carefully planned stages that involve coordination between central banks, government institutions, commercial banks, and international financial organizations. Significant policy adjustments usually follow extensive preparation rather than appearing without official confirmation. Iraq's recent financial reforms indicate continued institutional development, but they do not publicly confirm the existence of a predetermined international exchange rate. This distinction is essential for anyone trying to understand the difference between verified policy actions and commentary circulating within online communities. Looking at the available evidence, one realistic possibility is that Iraq continues along its current path of gradual financial reform. Continued improvements in banking compliance, stronger reserve management, increased confidence in the official exchange system, and further modernization of financial infrastructure could strengthen the country's monetary foundation over time. Such progress would be consistent with the direction already documented by Iraqi authorities and international observers. However, gradual institutional development should not be confused with claims that a dramatic currency revaluation has already been approved or scheduled for implementation without official confirmation. There are also risks that deserve equal attention. Iraq's economy remains closely connected to global oil markets, regional geopolitical developments, and domestic political stability. Sharp movements in energy prices, changes in international trade conditions, security challenges, or disruptions affecting government policy could all influence the pace of economic reform. Every country undergoing structural financial transformation faces uncertainties, and Iraq is no exception. A balanced assessment recognizes both the country's measurable progress and the challenges that policymakers must continue addressing before achieving broader economic objectives. When examining the specific claims attributed to Frank26, it is important to evaluate them within the context of publicly available evidence. The reported statement suggesting that a final international value has already been decided has not been supported by official documentation from the Central Bank of Iraq, the Iraqi government, the International Monetary Fund, or other recognized monetary institutions, without confirmation from authoritative sources. Such claims remain part of ongoing community discussion rather than verified monetary policy. Responsible analysis requires distinguishing between commentary shared online and formal announcements issued through official financial channels. Past experience also demonstrates why verification matters. Throughout the years, numerous exchange rate predictions, projected timelines, and rumored announcements have circulated within the Iraqi Dinar community. Some generated widespread excitement, while others were eventually disproven or never officially confirmed. This historical pattern does not automatically invalidate every future claim, but it highlights the importance of evaluating each new report independently. Rather than relying on the reputation of any individual commentator, it is more reliable to compare every claim against documented actions taken by the institutions responsible for Iraq's monetary policy. At the same time, Iraq's documented reforms deserve continued attention because they reflect measurable developments rather than speculation. Improvements in banking regulations, expanding electronic payment systems, stronger compliance with international financial standards, narrowing differences between official and market exchange rates, and sustained foreign exchange reserves all represent tangible indicators of institutional progress. These developments are supported by publicly available information and demonstrate that Iraq continues working towards strengthening its financial system through practical reforms rather than dramatic announcements. The broader lesson from today's discussion is that credible monetary analysis depends on evidence, transparency, and patience. Major financial decisions affecting a national currency are typically communicated through official institutions after policy decisions have been finalized. While community discussions often generate significant interest, they should be viewed as opinions unless supported by verifiable documentation. Evaluating information carefully helps create a clearer understanding of Iraq's economic direction while reducing the influence of conflicting reports that frequently circulate across social media and online forums. As of today, the available evidence indicates that Iraq continues making gradual progress through banking reforms, regulatory improvements, and broader economic modernization. These developments suggest ongoing institutional advancement, but they do not confirm reports that a final international revaluation rate has already been officially established. Until recognized authorities publish verified documentation, claims of a finalized exchange rate should be treated as unconfirmed community commentary rather than established fact. Following official sources remains the most reliable approach for understanding future developments within Iraq's monetary system. That brings us to the end of today's report. Thank you for spending your time with Global Monetary Watch on July 26. Our goal is to present balanced, fact-based updates that separate verified developments from speculation while helping you stay informed about Iraq's evolving financial landscape. If you found this analysis useful, consider subscribing to the channel, turning on notifications, and sharing this video with others who follow Iraqi Dinar news. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, continue following the evidence, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next update.